I'll send this off to Becca, and then I think she sends it back out your way so that if there's anything missed, you can circle back and check. So, Nafisa, you're in Vegas, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you probably aren't experiencing all of the snow, but you might. Are you getting any after effects from the wind and everything happening in LA
We're
and like the
having
fires?
crazy wind right now. There's so
Yeah.
much sun going around. There's so much dirt in the air. You can't even see in front of you a few feet. So it's
Oh,
crazy right now.
that's scary and sad and all the
And
things.
we're in a little valley, so once it gets a little windy, it just goes around the whole valley and it's just a whole little dust bowl.
Mm.
Rachel, are you in any of the snowy parts? Or are you in the
Nope,
windy?
no snow, but we are getting a lot of wind. Like a lot. It's like really intense. But yeah, no, it's pretty barren here in terms of snow. I think they're predicting like 8 inches on Saturday, but I never know nowadays. Sometimes
No.
they say it and it's just like, well, nothing.
In St. Louis, we tend to be on a we're like on a dividing line. So it is very common for something big to come down just south of us or
Mm-hmm.
something big
Um,
to come just north of us. I don't know whatever kind of geographical line we hang out at. So they'll call for catastrophic days and then St. Louis will get nothing. It's
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
but
it's keeping you
we
on your
got hit
toes
this
days.
time. Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm gonna hop in. I hope whoever, if they, hopefully they're not having any difficulty, I'll kind of keep checking my email on the side here to make sure if anybody's looking, they can hop on. But so welcome everyone. Nafisa, I've had a chance to talk with you personally. Rachel, you and I have interacted a little bit via email. So it is so wonderful to be connected once again. What I'm going to do is walk you all through, and just so you know, I can't see your faces right now. So if I miss anything, just speak up because I don't want to miss anything if you want me to repeat anything. So what we're going to do with today's orientation is I'm going to speak kind of specific to our concentration. At the same time, you all will really not dive into the concentration specific courses until fall. And so with that, I don't want to bombard you with information that will either feel like, oh my gosh, there's all this information, and then you'll promptly forget it. So I'm going to try to keep it kind of big picture and just give you some resources and things to think about as you progress through the program. But before we get started, it's always so helpful. I know, again, like we've had an opportunity to connect briefly, but it is always helpful to just help me learn a little bit more about you and certainly help you all feel a little bit more comfortable with who I am and feel more connected. So we'll do some brief introductions. Now, I did a very quick icebreaker just in case, but we can also do my favorite icebreaker because it gives me great ideas for my downtime is a different one, which I'll offer up. So my name is Heather Lewis. My background is pretty significant in applied behavior analysis. This particular field I kind of fell into, so to speak. It was something that I'd heard about, but I was getting my undergraduate in psychology and I knew I wanted to do something with helping people and I didn't know what that would look like. So it led me to a lot of different spaces, but ultimately I've worked primarily in early childhood and elementary and high school. I would say that's probably the bulk of the work that I do, but I do a substantial amount of work and investment in learning about behavior analysis as it relates to learning in the classroom, like in graduate classrooms, so specifically. And also, I've had an opportunity to work several years in the areas of gerontology. And so between supervision and organizational behavior management and classroom instruction and gerontology, I have a decent breadth to my experience. So, and then, and hey, Danny. Are you just hopping in to hang out?
Yeah, I'm just tracking who's attended.
Gotcha. We weren't sure if there was a third person, but we decided to just hop in.
Yep.
And I am recording.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes. And so in terms of my icebreaker question, okay, so the preferred question I ask is, what is the most recent show you are or just finished binge watching? So I'll go first. I am in process with the show called Bad Monkey that I just heard about, and my husband and I are hooked. It's really different and quirky and strange and a little violent, but also just like a fascinating story. So that's me. I'll let you guys go.
I am actually super excited about this icebreaker. Well, starting off, my name is Nafisa. I'm in Las Vegas. I just earned my Master's of Science in Curriculum and Instruction. I'm coming back for my Master's in Social Work and ABA. I work in early intervention currently, so that's where everything started, where I got that exposure to the kiddos, the kiddos under three
Yeah.
within their homes, and then the families that were kind of having a hard time navigating the system, I should say. So I think that's the reason. I knew I wanted to do social work, but I think that's where the ABA kind of came in, where I realized that you don't know what you don't know until you're exposed to
Yeah.
a different section of society. So it's something where I realized my passion for the kiddos, and that's why I'm here. A
Excellent.
show that I am
Oh, you're
obsessed
Bitchwad.
with right now. A show that I'm obsessed with right now. It's called For All Mankind. It's kind of like an alternative history show where instead of the Americans kind of landing on the moon and getting all the bravado for it in the first place and winning the space race, the Russians won the space race. So it's kind of the backwards version of that, and it's kind of seeing how society kind of progresses in that way. So it's a really
Oh,
good
I
show.
love
I've
that.
actually just finished it and restarted it. So
Wait, what was
I
the name of
just
that show
started.
again?
For All Mankind.
Oh, I'm writing that down. That sounds
I'm
really
here
I
to
am
good.
have
too. I
20
just
days with
did.
For
What
All
is it
Mankind.
on? What is it on?
Apple TV.
Apple TV.
I
Okay.
think they just expanded to Prime too.
Oh,
Nice.
fantastic. Great
Nice.
to meet you, Nafisa. Thank you for that.
Thanks.
Well, I am Rachel Paul. Actually, I started out, my undergrad is just a bachelor's in business management, which is so funny looking back now. So I did business stuff and it was great, but there wasn't a lot like of heart in the work, and I was kind of just like seeking out some different pathways. And I ended up falling into a long-term sub position in the 2020 school year when they were really needing teachers. And I had done like daycare work all through like college and my senior year in high school. But yeah, so I ended up falling into that like teaching position and I just like fell in love with it. And then I ended up moving out to the Boston area and I was like still kind of like navigating the business route. And I moved to Boston and ended up quitting my job within like 3 weeks because it was just like sales stuff. And then I ended up nannying and I did nannying for 3 years. And I just loved the one-on-one connection when it came to nannying. It was like really, it was just so fulfilling. And I was like doing a lot of like just like honing in on like psychoanalytical like behavioral patterns within the kids and just kind of like trying to bring the best day possible for them. And then I just kind of decided, well, I kind of want to go back to school. And social work seemed like a great fit. And then right now, because I ended up moving back home to Connecticut and just getting like an RBT position at this like really awesome, like tight knit small behavioral center that has this really like trailblazer approach to the world of ABA. And I just fell in love with that. So right now I'm just an RBT at that company. And I cherish that position very heavily. And so that's kind of where like my ABA concentration came in. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. And I haven't like really watched a show recently. I mean, I did watch the show Fleabag, which is like totally just like a raunchy comedy kind of show. But like a comfort show of mine is like Stranger Things, just because it's kind of
Oh,
cool.
I love
Yes.
Visually
Stranger
very
Things.
very pleasing, and the soundtrack is awesome. And I'm not even huge into sci-fi So, yeah, that's me.
That's awesome. Rachel, I lived and worked in Boston for several years in ABA.
Nice. Love that.
And I have a good friend of mine who's in Connecticut at an agency. What agency are you at?
I'm at Zephyr Behavioral Healthcare. They started about like 3 years ago,
Okay.
like literally just building up from the roots.
That's cool.
And my boss is really awesome, and she has like a really incredible vision for the
Oh, that's so
company
neat.
and
I
for
love
the community. So,
That's really exciting.
mhm.
Well, welcome everyone. So beyond who we are as people, just to kind of give you a bird's eye view. So as you might have become acquainted so far, we are the School of Social Work. And so what that means in terms of programs is there's 3 different disciplines, and within those disciplines, there are different programs. So within the discipline of social work, we have an MSW and a BSW program. Within the world of criminology and criminal justice, they also have a bachelor's and a master's program. And then in applied behavior analysis, we get the opportunity to hang out with an arm of social work. We also have an MS ABA for some students. And then some of our students matriculate through our program already with a master's, and they select the postmaster's certification, or a PMC. So depending on a person's interests and kind of how they want to integrate ABA into the bigger picture of their long-term career, there's lots of different options for our students. So you will ultimately, when you enter into your ABA courses, you will find yourself in classes with some MSWs, some postmasters, some MSABA, and it's a really neat dynamic. And of course, even within the program of MSW, what you guys might find is some folks come to us with a bachelor's in social work, so they have different course elements that they have to complete in order to achieve their master's, compared to somebody who comes in needing the entirety of the program. So lots of different ways that everybody comes to each course, but ultimately you'll find yourself hanging out with some really neat groups of people. And every time I forget that, I decided to get really creative with the animation, and and so thanks for hanging with me there. If you either ever have the opportunity to come hang out with me in person, it would make my day. This is an image, like if you're ever trying to picture, what are we doing? Where do we hang out? We are in Tegler Hall, which is in downtown St. Louis. And this is an image both from within the campus, and also we have street parking, which is so fantastic in cities. They never happen, but in St. Louis, if you ever find yourself here, please come by, and I will be thrilled to show you around the campus and the area of Midtown where we hang out. Now, within our program of ABA, there's a couple of different people whose names you might see being tossed around. So I just wanted to introduce you to them all. So the first person is someone who has yet to join us, is that of Dr. Michael Passage. He is our incoming director. We're really excited for him to join us in the fall semester. He will be your point person for anything program specific, anything if you have any track or relation to research and thesis, which in the social work program, you might interact with him in your capstone experiences, anything course related, you will certainly start to hear increasingly more from him. We're really excited that he's joining us. I am your person who wears many hats because I do have my MSW in addition to my educational specialist degree. I hang out in multiple spaces in our School of Social Work. So any of our students that are social work related, traditionally, you will have me as your advisor. I also will serve as your practicum liaison. And then we're also going to hang out in some classes together. So we get to do lots of different things together. So if you have any questions or are never quite sure who to contact, please reach out to me. And you've already interacted with Danny Young, our director of admissions. And so anytime you have questions maybe about scholarships or assistantships or anything related to that, she is your point person. Again, you're always welcome to reach out to me, and then I can kind of guide you in the direction of where to go. Another person who you will likely see a million times in your inbox is that of Jasmine Maloney. She is our program coordinator extraordinaire, and she will help you with any issues related to Banner, help with enrollment, any glitches in enrollment. You know, she is really amazing. Rachel, as you know today, she is quick on her response and she will help you out. So we also have several kind of key faculty members who have been a part of our program for many years. They are exceptional and incredibly respected practitioners in a variety of different spaces. We really like to diversify our instructors so that you get a glimpse of different areas of specialties. So between the instructors listed here, you have folks that are well informed on adult services, services related to sexuality, working in practicum spaces with very young children and also school-age children. So it's a really impressive faculty, adjunct faculty that you'll have the opportunity to hang out with, and they're all incredibly supportive. And one of these folks is actually a graduate of our MSW program. So it's really been neat to see that come full circle. Any questions so far before I hop into the course content?
Nope, not that I could think of.
My computer wanted to
Okay.
speak up, but okay, excellent. So I'm going to hop through, and this is because I am trying to give you just kind of the bird's eye view here, but I do want to just kind of give you a glimpse of things without just inundating you with details. I'm going to briefly review our course content, our practicum, and then we have a mentoring program that I'll talk about that wouldn't really start up until fall of next year. So quickly, our course content, what you're looking at here is your spring, like a spring start MSW. And like I mentioned earlier, our social work program has a variety of different pathways that you can take. If you have your BSW, you might have a different constellation of classes or maybe fewer classes than if you were coming into the program and matriculating through with, say, a bachelor's like in business, Rachel, or Nafisa, did you say your undergrad? Well, you just finished your master's in education. I don't know what your undergrad was in.
It's I have an interdisciplinary degree in
Okay,
social
so
science
both,
studies.
gotcha. So you both are probably coming with just kind of your run of the mill. Here's all the courses you need to be a social worker. So anyway, these are our courses, and what you'll notice is in the spring and the summer is when you'll really hit those social work classes hard, and then you'll start hanging out with me in the fall where we'll really start discussing ABA specific content. So you will in the summer also take that foundation practicum. That is a social work specific experience, and I will be a partner with you with that. I will serve as your faculty liaison, and we will certainly get to talking about that a little bit more. When we dive a little bit deeper into practicum, what you'll notice is that we have multiple semesters of practicum, but we have goals and themes around them. So you'll start out your practicum experience, like I said, in the summer, and that will serve as your foundation. Your foundation practicum experience will be a social work only experience. It doesn't mean that you can't have that hang out and be at a space that also uses behavior analysis, but in terms of your supervision experience and the tasks that are assigned to you, the only thing that would be discussed in your supervision specifically would be that of social work. Our students that are in clinical, ABA, or ComOrg theoretically can address any concentration as part of their foundation experience. So it's not uncommon for a CommOrg student to maybe get an experience in clinical, or a clinical student to get some experience and exposure in a behavior analytics setting. So there's lots of different ways that your foundation can look, and it is that intent to expose you to the field of social work and to just become more familiar with it. And then you move into that area of practice that you hope will serve as your foundation for your long-term career. And so in your concentration, you will have 2 semesters that have both social work and ABA supervision. And then you will continue on and have behavior analytics specific supervision for another 3 semesters. Because the 2 disciplines are intertwining, and because one of the disciplines can also serve as a concentration, traditionally what our students experience is a significant overlap where they really don't feel like they're setting one profession down and picking another one up. Rather, they're just, the discussions and the time spent in supervision will hyper focus with terminology that you're learning in your specific, social work or behavior analytic classes. But really, there's never a time, like, for example, in my experience as an MSW and an EDS, there's really not a time that I'm hanging out not thinking of social work because right now I'm a behavior analyst or anything like that. So I think that ultimately the only distinction you'll notice is the amount of supervision will shift slightly after your first 2 semesters of concentration. Any questions about that? Excellent. When you get further in the semester, particularly when you are around maybe March, maybe even a little bit earlier, maybe sometime in February, we'll want to set up a one-on-one time where I talk to you more extensively about the specific hour requirements, the specific social work requirements, and then start helping you with that search for what, where you want to land for your foundation and for your experiences after that. Because you are both out of town, I would give ourselves like 2 to 3 months, which is why I think sometime in February, that would be preferred for us to really sit down and start mapping everything out. Because I'm also going to want to connect with the organizations and help you find those organizations and get those established and get that, we have a memorandum of understanding between SLU and the organization so that everybody's kind of on the same page before you get started, and also have an opportunity to talk with those potential supervisors and just let them know kind of how we run our practicum and make sure that we can answer any questions and support them in whatever way we can. So we'll be talking fairly soon. You'll want to get your feet wet with your courses, and then we'll definitely be meeting up and starting those exciting conversations around practicum. The other thing that you will be exposed to is come fall, I will make mention of kind of connecting you with other students that are in the program, and just give you the option. A lot of times when students enter the program now, both of you with a strong background or experience in ABA, you might find the terminology far more familiar, but we certainly do see a lot of our students. Sorry, this thing came up. We do allow our students, the opportunity to connect with previous students just to kind of get familiar with, like, okay, what are the terms? How did you do this? Just making sure that students feel connected to the program. I mean, certainly, as you both may attest, in the world of ABA, there's so many different terms, and it's like learning a new language. And in one sense, it all makes sense. It's a very logical discipline, but at the same time, it's just a lot of new words. And so because we do acknowledge that there is kind of this, influx of information. We want to make sure our students don't feel like they're just out there floating. We want to make sure that they feel connected to students that have been in those very classes just a semester or two before. And so we had two amazing, one MSW and one MSABA student that partnered up, and they were like, what if we just helped the students that were behind us? And I was like, this is a great idea. So we'll do that closer to when you're actually in those ABA classes. There are lots of different ways to just engage with the discipline or the concentration of ABA in general. So I did toss these up as places that we interact. There is a Missouri Association for Behavior Analysis, but in both of your states, you both have very active associations for behavior analysis. Definitely hop in there, get to know those local organizations. They oftentimes have conferences. They oftentimes also offer very reduced rates for those conferences, and they traditionally bring in really interesting speakers and just give you an opportunity to network and everything. And then we will wrap up so that you all have a chance to ask questions. I do like to offer a little advice. This is most of these bullets come from a website that I noted down at the bottom. But things that, lessons I've learned as an instructor that might be helpful to disseminate to folks as they move through a graduate program. One of the most challenging things, and Nafisa, you already with your master's might be able to attest to this. A lot of times students will, you wrap up your undergrad and it was challenging and insightful and you're ready for the next step. But definitely when you hit grad school, that's where you're not just consuming information, but you're interpreting it, and you understand that there are lots of different ways to interpret it and different ways to go with it. And so it's teaching you how to think, not necessarily here's information and you just have to regurgitate it. And sometimes that involves just more reading and learning how to read more efficiently. And, so it's just a little bit different. The next thing I can't emphasize enough is we work really hard, especially with our program, make sure that Canvas is your learning management system. This is your opportunity to access videos, and all of your homework and everything is housed there. And so it is meant to be this very efficient and effective way for you to have all the information you need for each and every class. We also have resource pages, like our School of Social Work has a page in Canvas. Our field program has a page in Canvas, again, with lots of resources and how-tos and everything. And so please, check those things out. You have access to them. They don't open up traditionally until everybody is ready to go with a class, but definitely engage with that tool. It is meant to really help support you. And every now and then, students are less familiar with that platform and don't realize all of the ways that there's lots of information available there. Hang out with some organizational systems, connect with your professors, know that we are here fully to support you. We are so invested in your learning and your overall success. I'm thrilled at any moment I have another behavior analyst in the world, because they are much needed and there just simply aren't enough of us, and certainly not as many as we need who have a strong understanding of social work. So it's so important that you're here, and I want to make sure you feel connected and know that you can come to me with questions, or anything that you need. Don't forget the folks that are out here supporting you outside of your school community. There are people that love you and care for you and want to help you and may not know how. So make sure that, on those late nights that you're studying or trying to cram something in so you can get your assignment done, give yourself some space to also just remember that there's There's other things out there besides school. And just know that if you ever have those doubts creep up into your space, into your head, that those are completely normal. And they're also just thoughts, and they are not necessarily reality. You are here because we believe in you and you can do it. And, just never hesitate to reach out. So take care of yourself, come up with routines that support you. And once again, just please ask for help. We are more than happy to support you in this journey. So that's what I wanted to make sure we got out to you today. I can see you all again. Yay. Hold on. Oh, I've lost you again. Now I can see you. So with that, what are some questions I can answer for you? Is there anything I can do to clear anything up or anything of that nature?
Well, I've definitely abused your email a little bit. I've been asking you a bunch of questions, so thank you for all of your help. I really do appreciate it.
Of course.
But I wanted to ask you about being like a field liaison. So you're going to be our field liaison? Or are we?
I am.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like, I saw on my canvas, there's like a Tavera, like we have to be,
Yes.
that has to be completed in Tavera.
Yes.
How exactly would we go about that?
Yeah. Okay. So that is such a great question. The quick answer is, believe it or not, you might want to wait. I think that you get an exposure and a training to Tavera. Are you taking 5750 this coming semester? Is that one of your courses?
Yeah.
I want to say 85% sure that that's in there, that that's a part of the course itself. But I also want to acknowledge that we are very new to Tavera. We're in I want to say our 4th semester of using it. And so we have each semester kind of shifted where we put things in and how we're disseminating the information. So on the off chance that I'm wrong, what I would say is reach out to me by like February 1st. If you don't have information before then, what I think happens is that in 5750, you are given assignments like request a liaison. Like that's something you have to do within the class itself. And the only way you can do that is through Tavera. So I think that Dr. Ducasse, who is our field director for the MSW field program, she will give you a kind of an overview. Either that or she has taped herself giving that overview, and that is disseminated in your 5750. So that will be far more useful than something quick I give you now. But at the same time, I don't want you to I don't want to pass the buck, or pass the baton, so to speak. So if you don't see that information in your syllabus, if you don't see it somehow clearly being something you're going to access in 5750 or one of your other classes, because I'm thinking maybe 5725, but I'm not sure. Circle back with an email to me and I will walk you through it. But I'm fairly confident it's embedded in a course.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And the other thing to know about it is that it is another learning management platform, but there are a series of videos and training modules and everything that you become increasingly familiar with once you interact with them. And then all things related to your practicum start to hang out there. So like you'll log your hours there, there'll be supervision contracts and learning agreements, and they all are there within the semester that you need them.
All right, sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Yeah, of course.
I think the only question I have is about the practicum. Because I went down to part-time, would that still be something I do in the summer?
Ooh, that's a really good question. You should have received a course map. Does that sound familiar? Like,
There we go. Let me pull that up.
yeah, I will say that the one that I showed you is kind of I think we have 6 different versions, and that's kind of the spring start, full-time, all classes included MAP. And then depending on how many courses you're taking at a time, et cetera, it starts to shift a little bit. So yours, Nafisa, you should have an MSW ABA spring start part-time. Does that?
That sounds familiar.
Okay. If you don't, toss me an email. We'll set up a quick time to meet, because we'll want to make sure that you're the part-time, to make it manageable. We want to make sure that you do start taking those ABA courses, so that as you chunk things out, if we were to, just make sure your fall semester has at least one ABA class in it, so that you don't find yourself having to postpone classes. But I'm pretty sure that you'll probably have the right course map.
Okay, perfect. And then I did have another, because of I was a little confused about the hours with the part-times because of the flat rate section of it. Let's say I'm taking 57.25 and 57.50. If I was to add a third class on there, let's say later on, would that change me from part-time to full-time?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I don't know the answer to that, but I know who can give you the answer to that. Jess Kilmade, JESSKILMADE. She is the business manager. She was online early this morning introducing herself. And if you can't find her email, let me know and I'll toss it to you real quick.
No worries. Trust me, I didn't email him back. Jess probably still sick of me.
Okay. She's okay, good. She is your person to answer all things financial within our school.
Okay, perfect. I think that's all I have for you.
Well, I'm so excited to have you both here and starting in the spring. I always enjoy our spring cohorts. If you guys have any questions, please reach out. I am happy to connect with you. Word of advice, when the semester gets rolling, a general rule of thumb is, if you haven't heard from me, I usually try to respond anywhere from 24 to 48 hours. Sometimes if I'm just hanging out, typing things out, I can hop over, give a quick reply. Once the semester starts moving a little bit and I'm in classes, or I'm, in, consulting or something, if I'm not near my computer, I always give myself 24 to 48 hours to respond. That said, if you haven't heard from me in 40 hours, just push it up to the top. It shouldn't often happen, but you are granted permission, full permission, that if you haven't heard from me in 48 hours, to just circle it back.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you, Heather.
So much fun this semester. Learning is so fantastic. And, I look forward to connecting with you soon.
You've made this process wonderful, so I really appreciate you.
Yes, I second that.
Oh, that's so great to hear. Well, go be well and have fun, and I'll talk with you soon.
Fingers crossed, no more snow for you guys.
Yeah.
Take
Bye,
care.
guys.
Thank you, ladies.
Bye.